Just saying, how are you, Jim? And congratulations on the big move to the Big East.
Yeah, I'm exhausted, but it's a great day, a significant day in the history, and there's more to come.
I'll bet. Jim, here's my question. From the day you were hired, the day you got this job as the AD at San Diego State, at what moment, was there a specific moment, did you say, football has to get out of the Mountain West Conference? What was the turning point for you?
Well, I think there's a lot of good things that have gone on, and the conference is different than today than it was when I came in, and obviously there's been programs leaving, and the prospect of Boise really looking seriously to do something different and talking to the Big East about a potential West division. That's when it really hit, as far as we need to stay with Boise, and we need to play into that if possible, and that's probably the turning point. When Boise was starting to have serious discussions with the Big East, that was the point where I felt like, okay, if San Diego State can be a part of that, that could be a very good thing.
Jim, I can't let you get by with that comment that you just tried to slip in there a little bit earlier. You said it's an exciting day with more to come. When you say that, what are you referring to?
Well, we have today was just an announcement for football, and so the rest of our sports, we're talking to multiple leagues about what where potentially they would go and compete, and so I think there's definitely more to come. I don't know. We're hoping to get it done sooner rather than later, but the Big East just announcement came. We're working with 5 institutions, and this was the day that we all settled on, and it worked out great. But we're not quite ready to make that announcement on the other sports.
I gotcha. Aztecs AD Jim Sterk is with us. Jim, I know if you had to weigh the pros and cons at some point, the pros outweigh the cons, but has there been any negative feedback from other coaches on campus? Were there ever some cons that made you hesitate with this?
Well, I think, as the president said in the press conference, we've had serious discussions the last couple of weeks with the Big East, but prior to that, I could see it potentially coming, so I've had discussions with coaches for a while now, at least over a month and a half, and we've been talking, on a regular basis with our head coaches about realignment and where we are and what we're doing, and trying to play into that, and so they've been up to speed on that, and as we were talking about that, if it was going to be a football only league, we wanted to get input from all our coaches about where they potentially they could go, or where would they like to go if they went somewhere. What were the things that the challenges, and with challenges I think there come opportunities, and so we've been working on that and continuing to do that.
Jim, when this team does make that move to the Big East, obviously you're going to be traveling a little something. I don't know how much you're going to go to the Eastern Seaboard, but Big East means you're going to be traveling east. Are you going to, this is going to be a pretty good travel expense for the university, are you going to perhaps take a hit financially at first to actually recoup money later in the years, or is this something that pays off immediately?
Well, if you look at, football is the one that you can do this with, and actually, we'll have 5 games in the Western Division, and who's in that, it hasn't been settled yet. There's still uncertainty on who the final members are, but if you look at what our schedule was this year, we had 2 games in the Eastern time zone. Of our 5 games, we had 2 in the Eastern time zone, 2 others outside of the Pacific time zone, and none in California. And so football has already been playing, at more of a national level across country than the rest of our sports, and from a league standpoint, we'll have 5 games and then 3 crossovers to the Eastern Division. And if there's 6 schools or if there's 7 schools, it just depends on, there'll be 2 or 3 trips, or actually 1 or 2 trips out east. So it really doesn't change from what we've done in our non-conference this year.
Jim Sterk is nice enough to join us for a few moments on Extra Sports 1360. The Aztecs football program is headed to the Big East. Jim, this is so big. It really is. This is prolific. It's historical. It's highly commendable what you've been doing. And I guess my question is a bit naive, but a lot of other people have that question. How does the money get spent? You're increasing revenue, from around $1.5 million to over $6 million, according to Brent Scrotenbor. Where does the money go initially? How far does it reach on that campus?
I think that when it's no secret that we've had deficits in the past, and last fiscal year was the first year that we really ended up in the red in a long time and actually paid back those deficits. We're facing a time with the state support. Our state support in athletics alone dropped $1.1 million from last year to this year, and we were able to make it up and not have additional budget cuts this year, but in the future, the tuition is going to continue to go up. You may have remember that the cost of education legislation that was passed, so $2,000 more to each of the full-time student or full equivalency student athletes. So that's just $500,000 in itself, just to be able to do that and just to be able to maintain what we're doing. And then we've with our cuts, we've had to take cuts in sports where they're not at a full complement of NCAA allowable coaches. And so those are things that, we want to address. And then there's facilities and things like that we need to do to be competitive on a national basis. So I'd love to be able at the end of the day, give money to the institution, and obviously we'll work with President Hirschman on anything that comes out at the end. But I've been dealing from the other side so long. So I'll love the day when I have a surplus and be able to give to the library.
No doubt. Jim, I'm thinking this is a great move. I'm really trying to find the cons, and I can't think of too many. But my question is, as you are going to another conference, the Big East, that means you're leaving another, and it seems like the Mountain West is taking a beating so far as these conferences start to make a shift. What do you think happens to the Mountain West over the next, let's say, 3 or 4 years?
I don't know. As I've said, there's been change, each year I've been in it, and maybe I'm the bad luck, from that standpoint. But it in the future, they have had talks with Conference USA, and where those talks lead, I don't know. Maybe there's some kind of merger of those two conferences. I'm just not sure what happens exactly. But the folks there are great folks, and the institutions are great, and we'll be playing in there next year still. So I think that they'll do what they have to do and reconstitute and develop and continue to compete at the Division I level.
Quite a time for San Diego State. Hey, Jim, once again, congratulations on the big day. We know you're busy. Let's catch up soon.